thank you. In the first instance, thank you very much for everyone attending tonight. It's wonderful to see so many people. I just want to say, obviously, congratulations, particularly to Marta and Adam for this film with the nominations at the festival. I'd already seen the film. I really loved the film, of course. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to have an open Q&A, and then I'll lead on to some questions. I won't keep you here for too long. And it's really a case of if anyone in the audience has a question they'd like to ask to Marta or Adam, please fire away. Hands up.
Yeah, I was just wondering how Hannah's work continues in Ole's work, whether you can say something about that.
That's definitely a question.
Well, I think everything goes on, yeah? This is like Lama Ole said in the film, that nobody really dies, and probably that was also the wish of them and a wish of Hannah, that whatever she did or the way they worked and also the way Lama Ole works, it's something stays there. They are like kind of timeless values. So make people happier, maybe a bit feeling more free and satisfied with things, and this is how, let's say, Buddhism works. So I think this is all about that. And we hope that her example, or whatever she brought here in the world, just carries on with the friendship and the simple things what she showed us. But definitely about using the teaching, this 2,500 years old teachings in our life. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello. Thank you very much for the movie. And I'm very curious which kind of quality of Hannah do you like most? Like you, both of you?
Quality that I admire in Hannah the most, I guess. I guess she had this kind of quiet tenacity. This was a thing that kind of, certainly from spending 5 years making the film, there was kind of always this very simple, you know, on face value, and this was the feeling I was always left with at different points during the film. It always seemed like there was this simple kind of sweetness on one level, but the depth that went through that and the strength within it is something that I was left with. I didn't know, I met Hannah 3 times, I was lucky enough to meet Hannah 3 times. Marta, we spent a lot more time with her. So it was a real journey of discovery for me. And I think that was the one thing I was very much left with, was that feeling that there was a depth beyond anything that I'd kind of expected to her. But always on the top, there was this kind of sweetness and simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, I think many things you can see in the film and read also. We have a great magazine, by the way. Let me just show it. Time off. Before you leave, you can grab one. We have an article about the film. So
yes, absolutely. There's hundreds at the reception desk. Just grab one on your way out. It's no problem.
I mean, of course, I could talk weeks about Hannah. That's why I made the film. But my favorite, one of her favorite quality was her sense of humor. And the way he showed as this, being an example with this sense of humor and being so cool and relaxed with everything, this I think is pretty something. Like not too serious, not too stiff. That was my favorite quality of her. Always playful and fresh and joyful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Okay. How did the idea of making the movie started?
Well, you can read it in the magazine. I'm so mean. No. Actually, the short version of the story is that after 2 years after she passed away, I was thinking to do something about her because there was such a huge interest about her personality and about her life. She was such an interesting woman, kind of amazing, impressive appearance at the same time, because she was also very humble. It was very difficult to read her, yeah? She was not showing off, and that's why after a while decided to do something and asked some friends, and then I met Adam, and this is how the journey started.
Well, as I say, we're just going to conduct a short interview. I suppose the first question I have is, actually, how did you come to work together? How did that happen?
Sort of continuation actually from your question. So Marta came to me and was asking how we made a film. We kind of knew each other, and Marta was like, how do you make a documentary? How much does it take? How do you go about it? And I'd obviously been interested and practicing Buddhism for about 3 years at the time, and so I'd made a few documentaries in the past. Some for television, some feature film documentaries, a whole load of other video content besides. And I just wanted to get a lot closer to the subject. As I said, I've met Hannah sort of 2 or 3 times. The idea of telling a story about her life and knowing some of the incredibly exciting things that had happened was something that I just couldn't pass up. And at the time I thought that, it would only take a few months, and it didn't. It took a bit longer.
How long did it? How long from start to finish was the process? So
we took about 5 years, and about a year was just research.
Yeah.
We interviewed Shamapa, one of the key figures, pretty early on, because we managed to get. He's not an easy guy to get hold of, and we managed to get an appointment with him in 2009, I think it was, and we started the process in May 2009. We got an appointment with him just before the Kaju Monlam, which is November 2009, and so that was kind of our preliminary interview, but yet the work of research and development continued over the course of the year. Not to mention the work to actually raise the finance and make sure that we could get going. And at the time, we made plan after plan after plan, and kind of went, okay, well, we'll do it in a year. No, okay, so we got this far. Well, let's plan the next year. Okay, now let's plan the next year, and just kept reworking things until we'd got it finished.
And I mean, I know. Sorry, you touched upon the research, but how difficult was that? Because it must have been fraught with problems. There's a few. There's a few books out there, right?
That we kind of dipped into everything that we could. Basically, we dipped into other Buddhist documentaries to see what had been done, how the stories have been told. There were things obviously we liked, things that we didn't like. We read as many books as we could. You'll see if you see some of our books, they've got countless underlines in. They've got sort of bits sticking out of them all over the place of things that we thought was important. We listened to countless hours of Hannah. We were lucky enough to be given a lot of footage from all over the world, from Hannah's life, from different people. Yeah. Going through that and just trying to formulate that story, but looking at it on the filmmaking level is kind of going, okay, what's happening on the world stage within those 40 years as well, and how does that fit in with the story that Hannah and Ola were on?
And how did you? I mean, often the finance side is I would say that most of it is a very difficult part. But how did you manage to raise the finance?
Yeah. So we had a number of different individuals who wanted to see this film made, and once and primarily Marta was responsible for this. Marta had approached them. We told them what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do it, and they were very generous with their time and with their support. And then we did a Kickstarter campaign which lasted 5 weeks, where again it was a case of, again from the filmmaker's perspective, Kickstarter is a fantastic platform to be able to do such a thing, but it needs to be thought of as a campaign or sort of in its own right. Yeah. The ability to do it. You don't kind of go, I've got a good idea, great, let's see what happens. It was a case of going, okay, we're going to launch a Kickstarter campaign. What information do we need to give? We need to show that this is happening already. Mm-hmm. We worked on our social networks and built a community first that we knew were going to be interested in this, built those communication channels, and then started the Kickstarter campaign afterwards. So you've got your audience to communicate to.
Yeah. And have you learned anything from making this film?
I've learned a lot. Do you want to pick up on any of that?
Oh, I said, it's your microphone. I think we both learned a lot, of course. I think everybody learns, isn't it? When you produce something and you create something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's a book or a film, for sure.
And looking back, is there something you wish you had done or inserted in the film that you never did?
Meaning?
Well, was there a part of her life or story that you wish you'd sort of elaborated on more, or perhaps there was something you would have put into that you didn't?
I mean, doing a biography on a film, very difficult. You need to do a kind of series of film, isn't it, to cover everything. We are talking about 40 years, a whole life, and especially somebody like Hannah who had, I mean, we had this part like they were traveling and they went there and they went there, they went there. They would do so much in one life, like many people do it in, I mean, never do it, yeah, like 1 year of it. And it was very difficult. That was a big challenge to what to show, and we can say this is a kind of glimpse of her life.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things we couldn't show, a lot of interesting stories as well we couldn't say.
Yeah.
This is what you do probably in a book, yeah?
Yeah.
So this is a big piece of art, and that's why also probably was good to have the time for it, because we had to go through of it and go through. We worked a lot on the structure, so which was really helping us on the storyline, and we had to go through again and again on the interviews we made, and 60 interviews and transcribe and go through what we want to say, what is understandable for everybody, and what is interesting, like how you make a film, yeah?
Yeah,
where is a drama, and where is people are snoring already, so to keep the pace and just, yeah, this is a film, this is not a book, but obviously if it was a book, you could say much more. That's a biography. This is like always, you see a film which made out of the book, then you say, the book was better, isn't it?
Mostly, yes.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, mostly.
So,
and what's next? Have you got something, a new documentary that you're working on now?
well,
perhaps
this
together.
is still running.
Right.
We are. Can you see the team? This is us. Yeah. So it's a lot of work still, and I think luckily it's a bit runs around the world, and they want to see it. Many people want to see it other part of the world, like Australia and Russia and South America and Europe, big Germany, Poland. So we are about to work it out as well, and distribution is a big thing, and we are doing ourselves, and to see the right people and how it goes, and yeah. So it's still, the baby is out and the baby's walking now.
Screaming.
Running the world, yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay, and just finally, you both wear multiple hats. You're writers, producers, and directors of this, or co-writers, producers, and directors. And obviously that's spinning a lot of places. If you had to do one, which would it be?
Like producer?
All right.
I don't like this either or.
Well, if you...
Did you see? I would try to do whatever is possible, but yeah, I can't answer this question. Adam is a professional. I'm sure he would use a producer one.
Yeah, I don't know. I directed a few things before, and I produced more than I've directed, and generally. I think what's interesting with documentary that you don't necessarily get so much with dramas is the relationship between the producer and director is always very tight. So when I've done stuff before, I think the first thing I did was a documentary on street children in Rio, and I know very little Brazilian Portuguese. I know very little about Brazil. So finding a director that I could work with that really understood that, and then working together to bring out the stories was good. When I've done dramas, it's much more of that slightly organizational role, and I much prefer getting involved in the creative stories, but I don't. Directing's a different thing. It's a different thing. So I'd probably err towards the producing.
Thank you, and thank you very much. And if we can have a round of applause.
Thank you, and I should have started. Thank you very much. It's
really
great to be here.
No, honestly.
No, I wanted to say thank you. It's great to be here. It's an honor, and I think it's a great thing what you're doing, guys, in supporting all these independent filmmakers. It's a big thing,
That's a wonderful thing to say. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Must have been 65 or 66 while I was studying. I was sitting there checking out the new ladies. Then suddenly she came in.
We both had very strong reaction.
And from the moment we met, it started happening.
Hannah was a part of a 68 generation.
She was fearless.
We were interested in the psychedelic.
Deliberately looking for something that's better.
When you were interested in the mind, that's where you would go, to Nepal.
At that time, Kathmandu was a very, very special atmosphere.
I had the glimpse of the mind.
We'd found something that gave meaning to everything. I want you to do this work. Start Buddhism in the West.
For us, Buddhism was the beginning of a big journey.
On buses for 2 days, non-stop, without food in Russia, she just went on and on.
Well, South America was quite a story.
She was living Buddhism.
At that moment, a split manifested. It spelled trouble, and communist Chinese authorities were very much part of it. Only 40 years earlier, waged a war against Buddhism and completely destroyed Tibet.
I was eyewitnessing totally crazy things.
Very, very dangerous.
And Hannah, in those most difficult moments, she said with a smile, "I'm ready for everything."
I could feel that she had found something she wanted to live for.
Death is not something one needs to be afraid of.
People flew from Australia, Argentina, Mexico, Russia.
Nobody really leaves.